What to expect during a probation period in the state of Oklahoma? I'm Tulsa Attorney James Worth. That's the question that we have. So we've got somebody who is maybe been charged with a crime. They get a plea deal worked out for perhaps a deferred sentence or a suspended sentence, but that includes this period of probation. They want to know what to expect during that time. And it can vary widely. It's going to be specific to the case. And there's different courts that kind of do things a little bit differently. So if you're going to be in municipal court, it's going to be one way. If you're going to be in county court, it's going to be another way. And there's different types of probation. So in municipal court, you can expect there's going to be fines and costs that's going to be applicable to that. You may need to pay on a monthly schedule, or if it's a deferred sentence, it may just need to be paid by the end of that probation. Sometimes you've got work hours that you have to do. So you have to check in to get approved for a certain place to do work hours. You do those work hours, you turn those in for proof of completion, and essentially got to stay out of trouble. But they're going to have a rules and conditions of probation that notes you can't violate any laws. You've got to do your work hours. You've got to do what other hoops to jump through. If it is a larceny conviction, they might have you do a larceny prevention class. If it's driving related, and you might work a deal that has you doing defensive driving. Things like that could be specific to the circumstances. So that's kind of what may be typical in municipal court. And sometimes you can buy out your work hours. If you work out an agreement on that, you pay a certain amount of money, and then you don't have to do those work hours. If we're in county court, and again, it can be different from court to court in county court, but you generally have a couple different types of probation. So you could technically have no probation supervision at all. So you're on probation, but you're not supervised, which basically just means make sure you get your court costs paid and do those things. Don't run into law enforcement, get any new charges, and then you'll probably be fine. But sometimes most of the time, there's going to be some form of supervision. And generally, for lower level offenses, it's going to be DA supervision. So that's where the district attorney's office supervises. You have to pay them monthly in order to do that supervision. It is a way that they help make their budget, so they take it very seriously. And it's a relatively new thing. It doesn't go back that far into Oklahoma's history, but that is a program where a lot of people that previously would have been unsupervised now are on DA supervision. And you have your same, kind of form where you've got your rules and conditions of probation. You can't violate any state, local, federal crimes. There could be prohibitions against, alcohol, marijuana use, although that can be contested based on some of our marijuana statutes that note that if you've got a medical card, they can't infringe on that. That's an argument that we see that has to play out over and over again. Could be ordered to pay restitution on a certain schedule. That could go through the DA's office as well. So you could be paying money to 3 different places. You got to make sure they all get paid on time on a monthly basis, or they could try to revoke or accelerate your probation. So you've got fines and costs. You go to the cost administrator, you work out a payment plan on that, pay it monthly. You've got your DA supervision fees. That's the main way they supervise you, is just to make sure that fee's coming in instead of checking in saying I'm not in trouble, or going to your house, making sure everything's appropriate there. They don't really do that level of supervision. The supervision is if we get a check from you once a month, we assume you're doing okay. There could be drug testing ordered as part of it, depending on the type of the crime. We don't see a lot of that, but that could be something that's ordered. The other thing you may have to pay, though, is restitution. So if there's restitution ordered, you get a schedule worked out on that. That's paid usually through the DA's office as well. And DOC supervision for more serious crimes, people with more of a criminal history. This is more of the real type of supervision. It's not just about bringing in money to raise money for the coffers of the DA's office. This is probably not a huge money maker for the Department of Corrections, but it is a way that they can supervise, provide some protection, ideally to society. So for that, once you plead in, you check in with DOC supervision. They may visit you. You may have to check in on a regular basis, and you still have to do your other things. Stay out of trouble. No new offenses. If you've got to come in regularly for drug testing, if that's part of the rules and condition of probation, do it. If you've got restitution, same thing. Got to pay on your fines and costs. If you violate any of those, then the probation officer will get a report, file that in the case, give that to the state, and the state can file an application to revoke your probation or to accelerate your deferred sentence based on that violation. The other thing to note is while you are on probation, you have a reduced level of Fourth Amendment rights. So Fourth Amendment, saves you, protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures. But for a normal person that's on probation, that's a little bit different than a person that is on probation. There could be a presumption by signing those rules and conditions of probation that they're allowed to search your person and your place. And then I think although the case law would indicate that your rights aren't completely lost as it relates to the Fourth Amendment, they can be reduced to a significant extent to allow that type of probation supervision. So you should assume that. But like I said, it's different case to case, it's different court to court, and based on the facts. So if you want to know what to expect for your probation, you're definitely going to want to talk to an attorney privately, confidentially, to get legal advice specific to your circumstances. To get that scheduled with a lawyer at my office, you can go online to makelawEasy.com.